Jen here, and this is days 15 to 30 of my 30 days of lists that I'm doing. It was from November, if you haven't seen the other two videos. Basically, November is my birthday month, and so I thought I would do 30 days of lists to kind of document a little bit about myself every day for the month. So this is the third video, and this one will show the last 15 days. So I'm starting off here with some more of those stars. I got those stars in a swap that I did with my local scrapbooking group. So it was die cuts that we swapped, and those stars were from a lovely lady, and they're pretty cool. And then because this one is the prompt is on my shopping list, I thought I would use some of those squares to sort of represent bullets and actually make a list. So my shopping list is pretty small. Because it was getting closer to Christmas, I kind of just had a few. It's more like a wish list, I think, than a shopping list. But I wrote down a Canon selfie, books, of course, a Silhouette Cameo, a new mirrorless camera. I'm on the hunt for one of those. I haven't quite decided yet what I want, but it is time for a new camera for me, so that's on the shopping list. And then, of course, I filled it in down at the bottom with more everyday shopping stuff that I just had to get that day. Then for day 16, I used the bicycle again. I'm so proud of myself. I've used so many bicycles in this. And I picked the bicycle because the prompt is places to see in my town. So I am in a really cute little town, and so some of the stuff that is important to see is our little downtown and our main street called Elizabeth Street, Heartland Cafe, which is my husband's restaurant. It's in an old church. It's really cute. The Big Rock, which is what we're known for. It's a big erratic that came down from the mountains. Elma Street, which is sort of more shops and some art studios and things like that. The Saskatoon Farm, Caban Farms, our Chinook Honey Farm, and then we're really close to the foothills of the mountains, so there's all kinds of places in Kananaskis and stuff like that. So there's lots to see in our town. For the next page, it's going to be a pretty simple one. I just used the other side of that type paper that I used a couple days ago, and then just some washi tape up at the top and a little label to put the title. So the prompt for today is words that are hard to spell. So some of the words that I think are hard to spell that I see people spell wrong all the time are the word weird, accommodate, conscience, conscientious, rhyme, vacuum. I could probably keep going on. There's lots of them. There's always the there words that people don't get right. Your and your. You know, I could make a big list. But I didn't yet. So if we move on to the other side, I'm just taking this paper and I'm cutting some of the chevron out. I like the colors, but not all of the colors, so I thought it would be fun to kind of cut them out and make a bit of a border along one side. Takes a little bit of time here, but they're all straight lines, so it's not too bad. That's my trick for cutting out straight V shapes, is that I cut all one side in a row and then I go back and cut the other side. And then you can just pull out the little center. So I picked a pink one. That pink one that I'm cutting right now has little circles in it, and they have little text in them. You can't really make out any specific words, but you can tell that it's text. And then the red one has these really pretty roses on it. So I put down a piece of that washi tape. I know it looks wonky, but the lines in it are actually just hand drawn. They're not straight, so that's why it looks like that. And then I'm going to put these 2 pieces of chevron. And I thought I was going to use that little square, but I end up pulling it off because I think it goes better on a different day. And the prompt for today is road trip must-haves. So I could make this list super long because we take road trips quite a bit. But some of the must-haves for us are snacks, good music, plenty of time. We try to not ever box ourselves into strict timelines. A map, pillows and blankets, driving games, baby wipes, which are essential if you have children, headphones, and movies for each of the kids. So those are some of our must-haves. And I think I will come back later to switch the die cut, and eventually I'll put one that says journey. Then on this next day, I ripped that square with my glue. So I had to cut that down a little bit. But basically I'm just trying to use up some of the scraps of paper that I have left over. So I'm going to put some little banners behind that. I ran out of tape, or I'm very close to running out of tape. And then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. And that will be it for this page. So the prompt is recipes I want to try. And I'm going to have to come back to this one, I think, to write out the recipes. I have them written out now, but at the time that I'm doing this, there's just so many. My husband is a chef, so we cook a lot at home and try a lot of new things. So it's hard to pick just 1 or 2 recipes that I want to try. But what I ended up coming up with is baked mozzarella chicken rolls, gnocchi and pomodoro sauce, chocolate and balsamic roasted beets. Oh, sounds so good. Jamie Oliver's turkey Wellington, which we did for Christmas, and it was amazing. My 11-year-old actually made it for us. It was very good. Baked eggs with spinach and mushrooms, and veggie polenta lasagna stacks. And again, those are all in my Pinterest as well. So if you're curious about any of those recipes, let me know and I can direct you to the specific links. Now here on this other side, the prompt is celebrity crushes. So I thought what I would do is cut out a bunch of hearts in some of the papers that I like. Again, trying to use up some of the scraps, but I wanted to have some pink hearts and I didn't have any pink scraps. So I actually cut the hearts from the places where there were some pink roses. And then I'm just using some of these bubbles from a stamp set, a very generic random stamp set. And I want one more heart to put up at the top there, so I found another rose that has the pink color, and I'm just going to cut a heart out from there. And I'm going to cover up that bubble because I didn't really like it. And then I'll write down celebrity crushes. I had no idea what to write here. I have so many, and yet I don't really have any at all. So I'm a bit of a nerd, so I wrote Benedict Cumberbatch, Jamie Dornan, Aidan Turner, David Tennant, Idris Elba. But I could keep going on. And then on the next page, again, I kind of liked that idea of having cutouts. So this page is full of beautiful butterflies, and they're all samples of patterned papers from within the collection. So I'm just going to cut out a few of them. And the prompt is things to do this spring. So I thought the butterflies kind of worked for that. And then this little die cut here has some pretty roses on it. And at the top it says a day to remember. I'm just going to glue down some butterflies and then write my lists kind of in between the spaces where the butterflies are. And what I write is do some of the hikes from our book. We bought a book at Chapters that is local hikes throughout Kananaskis. So we did some of them this year, and we'd like to finish the rest of them next year. Finish painting the house, which is taking me a lot longer than it should. Sorry, if you just heard that, my computer just made a noise. Go to the zoo, plan our garden. We have my daughter's dance competitions every spring, and plan our summer vacation because we're taking a big summer vacation this year. So it's going to need a little bit of extra planning. And then for the next day, you'll notice here in a second that, or maybe I was able to put the video together well enough that you won't notice, but my glue runs out, and so I end up having to do this on a separate day. But I start off well. So I'm just taking, again, all of those scraps. I have just bits and pieces and, half papers and stuff like that. So I'm going to layer up a couple of these papers. I love that blue color. It's so pretty. Then it has sort of resist roses in it. So I'm just going to layer these all up, just like that. And then I have that tag that I punched out that says Life's Little Treasures. And I thought that that was fitting for today's prompt, which is Today I Saw. And so I'm just going to outline that bottom section to make sort of a box where I can write my list, which is my children laughing and smiling, a lot of traffic on my drive home. My neighbors light up the Christmas lights for the first time, which was awesome. We have some neighbors who just go all out. Their whole house is just decked out. It's really great. So we love seeing when they finally light up their lights. A daisy still alive in my garden. It just popped out of nowhere, and it's the end of November. So that was really exciting. I took a picture. Now for this next day, what I ended up doing after my glue ran out was I took a little bit of washi and I sort of planned out my days for the next, for the end of the month. And so I just had to glue them down. So here I'm still using up all those scraps, and I decided just to do a sort of very loose graph. So there's lots of different patterns in here. The prompt is my guilty pleasures. So what I wrote is YA books that make me wish I was a teenager again, Starbucks coffee, TV shows like Pretty Little Liars and Vampire Diaries, just TV in general. Caesars, when we go out to a restaurant, I always have to indulge in a Caesar. And then down at the bottom, that little square says, dancing with your feet is one thing, but dancing with your heart is another. So I thought that was kind of nice for guilty pleasures. It works well. On this next page, I am using 2 punch outs from the paper pad. So one is just a border, and then the other one is that really long tag. And I'm going to stamp around the outside, and then the prompt is I make lists for. So I make lists for groceries, weekends, to-dos, events, gift and cards at Christmas. I make lists for motivation, to keep on track, to come up with new and better ideas, to weigh pros and cons, because I like to write, just for the fun of it, and to give to others. I make a lot of lists for my kids and my husband. Then this next one here, I'm going to again use up some of those punched out shapes. So one is a little scalloped circle with the bird in it and an arrow that says love this, and then some more of that washi. I didn't use a lot of this white and gold washi because it's sort of a cheetah or leopard print and it's not really my thing, but um, it had to get in there somewhere, right? So this list is things I'd rather be doing right now. So um, while I'm writing this list, just to put it in context, I am at work. So there's a lot of things I'd probably rather be doing. But I wrote Christmas shopping, visiting family and friends back home, reading a book curled up on the couch in my PJs with a warm blanket and a hot tea, in a jacuzzi with a view of the mountains, scrapbooking. Yeah, lots of things. On this next page, I put down that very last piece of the white and polka dot paper that has the text in the polka dots, and then the very last border punch out. And then now I'm just cutting out some of these little flowers that kind of match that border. I cut out one big rose and then just a smaller one. And that can go on the other side. Yep. So my number will go in that box. And the prompt is books to read next year. So I have Illuminae and Gemina, which I own, I just haven't read them yet. Anything by Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I also own but haven't read yet. And then I wrote something here. So I wrote, there are just too many to list, which is why I'm happy to have Goodreads. My TBR has 492 books on it that I really want to read. I'm hoping to make a small dent in that in 2017, but I know so many more will be added. It's such an exciting time to be a reader. The next page is a really simple one. I just layered 2 pieces of paper, and that says memories and stories on it. And it's lessons learned, which I kind of skipped. I don't know. I have to think about what I want to write for that one. And then the one right beside it, I know I'm getting slower than the video, sorry. The one right beside it, I just used some more of my washi tape, and the prompt was vacations to take. So I wrote our cross Canada trip in August 2017, Bermuda, which is where my grandma is from, New Zealand, which is where my great uncle is from, Ireland, which is where my family is from, my ancestors, I guess, Iceland, and we'd like to go back to Disney because we didn't have such an awesome Disney trip, me and my daughter, so we'd like to make amends. No, make amends is not the right word. We'd like to redo Disney to have fond memories of it and bring the rest of the family. And then next, I layered up a bunch more of those punch outs. I think I end up using every single one that came in the paper pad, so that's pretty good. And the prompt is favorite foods. So I wrote sushi, pho, Italian, grapefruit, Sean's roast chicken dinner, which that's my husband. That's something he's famous for, is his roast chicken dinners. My grandma's tortilla and baked beans. Margaritas at the farmer's market. They're Ukrainian, and so they do cabbage rolls and latkes and schnitzel and just really, really delicious food. Let's see, fish tacos from Los Chilitos, which is another local place here, and their fish tacos are amazing, the best I've ever had. And I could keep going with that list as well, so that would be a pretty long one. And then the very last day is today's to-do list. So for that day, again, I used some of those starbursts as bullets to be able to write my list. And what I wrote is pull out the tree and decorations, finish Bird Box, which is a book I was reading, finish the lights outside the house, pick up Kaylin from dance, make December/Christmas to-do list for tomorrow, and be prepared for the great elf arrival, which was going to be happening the next day. And that is it for my November 30 days of lists. So here I'm just showing you right from the beginning a quick flip through of everything I did. I put a pretty good dent in the paper pad that I was using, but there's still lots of it left over, so I'm not sure if I will put it in my stash or I might put it together with some other stuff to use as a giveaway, which may or may not be coming up soon on my channel. So we'll see about that. And I will, once I've added all of the numbers, because I still haven't decided what thickers I want to use for numbers, but once I've added them, I will take some still shots and those will be up on my blog. The link to my blog is in the credits and down below. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Happy scrapping! Bye!